best. Put a natural feeding to the test. From Scotland's highlands to the coast of Dover, we are the raw feeders of Great Britain, yeah!
Good evening, welcome to the Raw Feeders of Great Britain podcast. Could you start by introducing yourself and tell us why you've come on the podcast today?
Certainly. Thank you so much for inviting me as well, Michael. My name's Shaz. I'm a homeopath. I'm a pet elf health educator. I'm a lecturer, author, founder of homeopathy pet coaching, and I've spent many years helping dog guardians better understand natural health approaches for them and their dogs. And one of the things that I've become increasingly passionate about is education. And I've realized that many people were interested in homeopathy, but they just felt completely overwhelmed by it. And they either thought it was too complicated or didn't know where to start, or had a homeopathic kit sitting in a cupboard gathering dust because they lacked the confidence to use it. And that was really the inspiration behind my latest book as well, Homeopathy for Dogs. And the book's designed as a practical, easy to follow guide for everyday symptoms that dog guardians may come up with, and rather being those kind of heavy academic textbooks that are written in the Latin and the medical terms. This is in plain English, and it takes people through many of the remedies commonly found in the homeopathic pet kits or home kits, and in particular this one was altered to take in the full remedies that are within Ainsworth's homeopathic pet kit, which is also the Helios 24 kit will have all these remedies in as well. So, whatever kit you have. And one of the things I often say is that homeopathy isn't about treating labels. Two people or two dogs or, two horses, two cats, whatever, can have exactly the same problem on paper, but require completely different approaches because they're different individuals. And over the years, I've worked with thousands of people and dog guardians through consultations, courses, webinars, social media groups, educational events, time and time again. And I've seen that when people understand their own symptoms and their animals' symptoms, they become more confident, more observant, and more proactive in supporting the well-being of them and themselves. And the book, the latest book, kind of grew out of that and is heavily illustrated, easy enough to dip in and out of, and designed to sit alongside the popular homeopathic kits that many people have. And you've probably seen my book online.
Yeah.
And as a little, let's have a little look. As a little introduction, there's one there for Apis, which is fantastic for bee stings and wasp stings. So apart from the kind of the main reasons why you would possibly use that remedy for yourself or for your animals, there's also the little cartoon thing of a dog getting stung by a bee. So hopefully that sticks in people's minds as well. Alongside the book, I run online courses, live events. I've got a brilliant membership community where we continue learning. We take a deep dive into remedies. And although I'm not a vet, I don't treat animals, I educate people how to use homeopathy for themselves. So hopefully they will pick up a remedy if they get stung by a bee, but also remember that if their dog's got stung by a bee, they can give that remedy to their dog or their horse or their goat as well. And what I love most about watching people in my groups and in my Facebook groups, my membership group, and the feedback that I'm getting from this book is watching that confidence grow. And it's not about turning everybody into a professional homeopath. There's people like me for this and homeopathic vets for that. It's about helping ordinary people and dog guardians understand their dogs a little bit better, also feel more comfortable making those decisions about what remedies to take. Which remedy was it I needed? What was it Shaz said about this? Open the book, have a little look. There'll be a St. Bernard there on crutches with a broken leg. If you've got a broken leg or an animal's got a broken leg and it's been set and it's been looked after, Symphytum's a magical remedy for making that healing go quicker. So yeah, that's kind of me and what I do. I've got a thriving practice, family practice, as well as pet coaching practice based in Bristol in the UK. I practice worldwide. And Yeah, very active on social media with my groups and just educating people. I don't want to say to people, take this remedy. I want to tell them why they should be looking at that remedy, and then they make that decision themselves.
Okay, that was my listening phase, because I'm learning as you're talking here. Because like I said, for anybody that's going to be watching this, are going to be learning alongside me. Now you've covered quite a lot of information there, so I've seen snippets of like I said, of the book that you've released, and the fact that the artist with it, the illustrations. Is that what you've done them yourself, or?
No. So I've got an illustrator. I've got a Sri Lankan illustrator because I've got a couple. I originally, with my book, my author and publishing type side of business, I wrote a series of children's books about a little girl who was suffering with, the peer pressure that they get at 7, 8 years old in school, and how a little Jack Russell puppy changed all of that. And the illustrator that I use for those books is Sri Lankan. Sometimes my version of what I want them to give me an image of a dog jumping through a hoop in an agility competition. Obviously, it's a little bit different in Sri Lanka, what we would be used to in the UK. So there was a lot of barriers between what I wanted and what he could draw, but he could draw things. And eventually we got to what we wanted. That, with a bit of AI, it ran through AI programs, because no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get a St. Bernard to use crutches. I do apologise for that. And I couldn't get a Jack Russell to, catch a remedy from a catapult. But it's all there to make it a fun way to learn. But it's that illustrative way. People will look at the images, and as I just showed with the dog de Bordeaux with a bee sting, they'll remember that under the apis and go, I saw something in the book about being stung. And one of my dogs in particular she still won't learn the lesson, and she seems to think it's quite fun to eat bees and wasps. So I use apis quite a lot for her. Most of the illustrations they've gone through so many things to get them how I wanted them, basically.
Well, that alone just shows you your passion at a high rate, because you've not just used any like stock images or anything like that. You've gone above and beyond to create something perfect for your book, because a lot of people, myself included, well, I used to be. I'm a bit more nerdy now, but I used to read books for the pictures. If there was no pictures, I didn't want to read it. Do you know what I mean? So I guarantee I'm not the only person with that mindset. So it will help a lot of people actually dig deeper, and like I said, it'll stick in their heads, because not everybody learns the same way either. So you've kind of like ticked off both audiences.
As you touched on, I could have quite easily have gone on to Shutterstock or whoever. I'm a photographer myself, more of a rugby team than I am of animals, but I do take, quite a lot of images of animals. And I could have quite easily gone to my local dog park or my local dog field, or even friends and family, and said, can I have a picture of your dog? And a lot of people sent me pictures of their dogs. But if you've just got a picture of a dog, yes, it's a lovely looking dog, but it isn't actually doing anything, is it? And
no, exactly, yeah.
Get those remedy keynotes across in just an image of a dog. And if I would have had this lovely picture of the particular man whose dog de Bordeaux that is, all of the dogs in my book are from followers and from clients and friends and family. Every single dog I can name and tell you where it came from. They're not generic. They're people that are in my Facebook groups, people that follow me, and I put a plea out for particular breeds because I wanted particular characteristics of them, and people sent me images. And every single dog in that book I know the name of. There's 70 odd in there now.
Wow. Like I say, it's just incredible. Like I say, you showed me one of them, and I was impressed the fact that someone who's that talented. I can't even draw the same stick man twice. So yeah, I was impressed.
They did take a lot of.
So with the book itself, obviously, I know what it's about. So obviously, it has like remedies and solutions for certain ailments and things like that. So in your opinion, what would be the top five that you reckon every single like dog owner should have at home?
I recently just sent an email out to everybody, actually, my subscribers, about the top 10 remedies to have. But
Oh, okay.
the top five remedies, aconite, straight away. This is your sudden things that happen. This is the sudden frights, the shocks, the sudden illnesses, but also you'll get a change in wind direction sometimes. And when we move from kind of summer into autumn or autumn into winter, sometimes we get that cold easterly, northeasterly wind come in. And then the following day you wake up and you're not very well. This is where you start taking the aconite. So aconite's number one. I think most people should carry aconite, because even those things where, you're quite happily driving down the road and somebody cuts you up, and depending on the type of driver that you are, you may be going, oh, he was an idiot, or you may be swearing out the window on the horn to them, but you may be replaying that in your mind, and it may be going, oh, that could have caused a really bad accident.
Yeah.
And that really shocked me. And this is where aconite comes in for those type of situations. Second one I would say is arnica. Most people know arnica. Arnica is for those blood and muscle injuries, fantastic for when you've overdone it. I'm a gardener as well, and I use homeopathy in the garden, but if I know I'm going to go out in the greenhouse for a couple of hours, I'll take an arnica beforehand, because it just helps, and it helps your muscles recover a little bit more. I used to do agility with my dogs, and my old bitch who's 13, she will still do agility. If I allowed her free rein, she would continue doing rounds of agility all day long. And because I know she's still like that, if we go somewhere where I know she's going to be doing agility equipment, not by force, this is in a field where it's got it and she'll just go, I'm going off, mum, I'm going to do some of this. I will give her arnica before we do that, and I'll give her an arnica when we come home, just so she doesn't get those muscle stiffness and those aches and pains.
Okay.
Number three, I would say, if we carry on kind of alphabetically, belladonna. Now, belladonna is that hot throbbing thing, that earache that starts at kind of 3 a.m. in the morning. If your kid's going to come down with an earache, they're going to come down between midnight and 3 a.m. This is where you think of belladonna. But also with our dogs. I mean, most of the time, certainly in my experience, if a dog's got an ear infection, it's because of what they've been eating for the last few months anyway, and it's not a sudden thing like a child would get.
Yeah.
But if you've got that redness and that heat coming from that ear, belladonna would certainly help. Really good for fevers. Another one, I can't leave out apis, because just the way my young bitch is with apis. Now, she hasn't learned her lesson when it comes to eating wasps and bees. And as an example, last year I had, on the same day, 3 people. 2 people had my kits and 1 person never. One was local. And in the same day, 3 messages come through, Shaz, help, the dog's got stung by a bee or a wasp. What do I do? 2 of them automatically, and I said, right, you've got a kit, get the apis out, give them some apis, see how they get on with that. 4 to 6 doses, that swelling should come down, their agitation should come down. If it doesn't clear, get them to the vet. And if you're a long way away from the vet, use it on the way to the vet. The other person never had a kit, but lived quite close to me, but I wasn't there, and she had to go to the vet. That cost her in the end, I think, was 1,600 quid for a wasp sting. It was stung on the muzzle, don't get me wrong, and it was swelling. It never really affected, they said it didn't affect the airway, but they went to the emergency vet. The emergency vet saw them, started treating for this, started treating for that, kept it in, did this, did that. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. And as a little tester, you could quite easily say, okay, that dog was hyperallergenic and, maybe going into anaphylactic. With this sting, the same dog was stung again about 6 weeks later, I think. It was 6 to 8 weeks later. But in the meantime, they bought one of the Helios kits off of me, and they gave it apis, and the swelling went down straight away.
Wow.
So apis I would say 100% keep that one. And it's in, I do a kit called an outdoor adventure kit that you can just keep in your pocket when you're out walking for emergencies. If you twist over on your ankle or you get stung by something or bitten by something. And in my own kit, I keep Vipera, which is adder venom. And although this isn't going to stop all of the symptoms that you're going to get from being bit by an adder, most time if you're bit by an adder, you're a long way away from a vet. Sometimes you may be on holiday, or you may be out, an hour away from even where your car is. And you're out walking with your dog, you may get bit, your dog may get bitten. You need to phone the emergency help, whether that's a hospital or a vet, and you can give this on the way, and it helps just stop that spread of venom so much. But that isn't one that I would say in the top 5 to keep, but that is one that I have in my outdoor adventure kits. So we've got Apis, we've got Arnica, we've got Aconite, we've got Belladonna. Oh, what would I choose for a fifth one? Heprasulf, I would say. So Heprasulf is the homeopath's equivalent of an antibiotic.
Okay.
So things that you may normally need an antibiotic for, there's things that are producing pussy and green and not so nice, and that can be, it can be from the tonsils, it can be from the ear, it can be from a wound. This is where we would give Heprasulf. And usually, unless the infection is pretty major, Heprasulf will keep it at bay and knock it out and help your body. Your body will raise a temperature to help burn off an infection that it may have, but it just helps your body do what it needs to do, or your animal's body. So yeah, I think number 5 would have to be Heprasulf.
Okay. I'm not going to remember all of those, so afterwards, can you send me the list so I can attach it underneath?
Yeah, sure.
Then
I'll send you the email that I put out the other day.
that'll be excellent, because then my remembrance, knowing how to spell them as well.
Yeah, everything.
But it's like I say, it's really interesting to me because, like I said, this does obviously fall within like the alternative world rather than the Western conventional side of it. But a lot of people, especially a lot of kids.
You'll be surprised, Michael. So homeopathy is the second widest used form of medicine in the world, following Chinese herbal medicine. The royals have used it for decades. King Charles is the patron of the Faculty of Homeopathy. The late Queen Mother, they've all used homeopathy. Tony Pincus from Ainsworth's was summoned to the palace to, help the late Queen Elizabeth with her homeopathic kits to make sure that they were stocked correctly. And if you look at the people that use homeopathy from, sports stars, David Beckham, Usain Bolt type thing, Muhammad Ali, Mahatma Gandhi, all of these people, there are not what's termed as elites that use modern medicine. Even Rockefeller, who was the one who, brought about modern medicine, he had his own homeopaths. The whole family do.
Yeah, see, because at the end of the day, it is just another tool. But like I said, people even use it without even realising. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but what I think this falls under the umbrella. But when children get stung by a stinging nettle, the first thing they do is to get a dot leaf.
Yes.
To try and that, to me, that is homeopathy in practice.
It's that natural. I got stung by stinging nettles in the garden probably about 2 hours ago now. And at first it wasn't that bad, and then I was stupid enough to have to grab something again, so I ended up with quite a bit on my hands. So you end up with the normal kind of welts that come up, and it's really stingy. Now, I haven't got any dock leaves. Excuse me. So the homeopathic remedy is Urtica urens. And I came in and I took an Urtica and I carried on. And there's nothing there to show that my hand's been stung at all. But Urtica urens is made from the stinging nettle.
Yeah, just because I was about to say that name sounds like the Latin name for the nettles. Yeah. So I was about to ask you if that was, yeah.
Homeopathy works on that principle of like cures like. And a normal dose of something that would cause those symptoms in a well person or a well animal, in the minute succussed, potentized version of homeopathy takes that away. And that's why I think that's why us homeopaths, it's almost as though we have a superpower, because there isn't anything that phases us. Because if there's something that's caused an issue, we know we can undo that issue with something in homeopathy. And whether, if that remedy isn't even available on the shelves, and there's thousands of remedies available in the pharmacies, you can get that made. So you don't kind of go, oh, there's a new disease coming out, or there's this, or there's that. You just go, oh, okay. If it becomes a problem, we can make a remedy out of it.
Yeah, so it's like, isn't that similar to like the premise of like how like no-sods work and things like that?
Yeah, so no-sods are a homeopathic preparation made generally from the disease material. So you've probably heard of the no-sods which people use instead of vaccination.
Yeah, that's why I've heard
So
the term,
no-sods is just a name for a group of particular remedies. And most dog guardians would have heard of the no-sods that I myself use them. I don't vaccinate my animals. I use homeopathic no-sods, and they are made from the disease material of those particular diseases. So by giving a little bit of that, it's similar to the way that modern vaccination works, in a way that modern vaccination gives part of that disease to that person through an injected substance, whereas with homeopathy, we give it in a minuscule amount. It's potentized and made into generally a little homeopathic pill. And the body goes, oh, what's that? Okay, we'll remember that. But I think the main difference I certainly find with homeopathy, you're giving that pill through the mouth. And the mouth is our little gateway for disease. Our mouth and our nose are our main kind of protectors. Whereas if you're introducing that intravenously or intramuscularly into the arm or the leg or the neck or wherever it is you're placing that vaccination, it's not the natural way for our body to be on alert there. And the little guard man that stands in your mouth and in your nose going, no, you're not coming in. We're gonna stop you with some mucus or some, the nasal hair and things like that, or your tonsils. And generally it will get stopped there and it won't go any further. But if you're putting it in the arm, they're like, hey, what's going on over there? Someone's breaking in and bringing something in your arm. We don't know what to do with that. So yeah, I prefer to use homeopathy in that respect for preventative illness as well.
Yeah, like I said, I just think a lot of people do use it without even realizing it, because you do see in like some circles where it gets dismissed as like pseudo or woo-woo and things like that. But at the same time, they're also using it; they're just not even aware. For example, they might say that there might be instances that the wax melts and the scented candles that are essential oils, and that's essential oils is, do you know what I mean? So they're using it without even realizing it.
Yeah, it's using that natural substance. And I mean, using this, I'm not a practitioner in essential oils, but I do use them for my dogs. And I'll just, I don't even open the bottle. I just crack open the lid and I'll leave it in the room. And if they want to go and smell that and get whatever it is they need from that, they can go and do that. And the same with herbs. I have a big case of herbs that they're all sealed and within bottles and labelled. And I said to my dogs, what do you need? And my dogs will go and self-select and pick up a bottle that's sealed. And I will give, certainly my old dog, I will give her whatever it is she's after. And that will tell me then what's going on for her. And she does the same with homeopathy. I've got a pot of, she was poisoned last September as a backstory. So she's gone through a hell of a lot in a couple of months. And she has a box of remedies on my desk. And she will come up at whatever part of the day I'm here, and she will sit on the chair next to me, and she will be asking for remedies. And I'll get each remedy out, and I will offer it to her. And if she doesn't want it, she will sniff it, and then just backs off. If she wants it, she will really try to get to it.
Yeah.
And generally I know from whatever she's choosing that day, how she's feeling. Her stomach's really suffered since she was poisoned. But she knows what she needs. But similar thing, oils, homeopathy, herbs,
Yeah.
we all
So
use
the
it,
thing,
but in a different way.
definitely do, and I generally think, because obviously we can only relate to the world, the environment around us, using our own senses. A
Yep,
dog's nose is far superior to ours, to a point
amazing.
where I try and explain to people, like, if we're cooking a bolognese at home, we can smell a bolognese, but dogs can smell each individual ingredient as a individually. It's far more intuitive than our own.
Yeah,
And there's a massive thing about, well, I say massive thing, just in the circles that I'm in, about canine pharmacognosy, about the self-selection, like you've mentioned.
yeah.
And there's definitely things to it, because we just see it as like a herb, for example, but they can smell the properties
They
that's
can
within it.
smell it. And also, I liken to you mentioned zoopharmacognosy. Now, there's a wonderful lady called Tracy Brind from Canine Senses, and she came into my membership a couple of months back, and we did a live demonstration. So everybody who was part of that membership and that meeting that evening had two things sent to them in the post, which was licorice root powder, and the other one was ginger oil. So we did a live demonstration during that lecture on how we react to it, let alone how our dogs react to it. And I've also got Rita Hogan's coming into my membership later on in the year, who's, number one canine herbalist.
Yeah,
And Caroline Ingram as well. Caroline's amazing, don't get me wrong, but she's really busy. She can't come in to join us. But zoopharmacognosy, what they're picking up on, and I know it's a little bit different for you because you're a man, but pregnant ladies sometimes, or even men, they can experience a similar thing. If you've got a hangover and you wake up really rough and you're like, oh, all I need is a Greg's sausage roll, or all I need is
cravings.
a
Yeah,
bacon sandwich, your body is craving that thing that it needs at that point. And it's exactly the same with our dogs. They can smell that herb and that substance far better than us. And they go, okay, I need that to make me feel better. And self-selection, I've never advocated people putting things on their dog's food. You should always have it
yeah,
separate away so the dog can choose that. And if you've got a good dog, don't get me wrong, my young dog, my 4-year-old, she's a bit of a baby shark and she wants to bite and test
yeah,
everything and then decide if she likes it or not. But my old dog is so intuitive, and I trust her 100%. If she doesn't want to touch something or doesn't want to go somewhere, then we don't do that.
yeah. Like I said, older and wiser. So younger
Absolutely.
dogs, yeah, they've got to explore the
Absolutely.
world and learn from their own mistakes,
Yeah.
just like us.
Yeah.
But as well, one thing I found with, like I said, with the whole self-selection side of it, like I said, because it is, like I said, a massive thing in my opinion, and a lot of people pay more attention to it.
Yes.
But one thing that people need to remember is, if you've got something and it's in a powdered form, turn it into a paste with a bit of water,
Yep.
because the last thing you want to do is to sniff it up, because, like I say, you could have like aspirations and things like that.
100%. And also, how you're offering that. And I always say to people, don't put it in their food bowl. If it's a bowl, put it on an open surface, because the
Yeah,
smell that gets trapped in that bowl can be too overpowering for them. Whereas if it's on a flat surface, that smell's dissipating out and they can take it if they want it. But yeah, zoopharm. I was going to train in zoopharmacognosy years ago, and it's still on my agenda. But yeah, I absolutely love it. And as I say, I do a similar thing with homeopathy. If I'm one of my older dogs, one of my old St. Bernards, I wasn't quite sure what remedy he needed one day. And I was really torn, and I thought, I'll just give him both. And I thought, no, I don't want to. Let's see what he thinks. And I offered him, I put one side and 3-4 foot away. I put another remedy, and he went to the one that I was kind of erring towards. And it showed me then he never even attempted the other one. He didn't want the other one. And dogs can, even on a tiny homeopathic pill where, it's gone past that avocado's number of an actual substance being left in it once it's past that 12 seed potency. They know what's there, the frequency and the essence and the vibration of that substance is still there. Which is why I find it amazing when people go, oh yeah, but it's just placebo. And I think, how many times I've given a homeopathic pill to one of my animals, and whether that's a dog or a goat or a horse or a baby, and you've watched them just change like that, and you think, oh yeah, that was really placebo. They must have listened to me when I never told them that this was going to make them better.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. And a lot of, to be fair, a lot of times as well, the placebo word gets thrown around, but it's like we always say, if something's working, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's working, as long as it's working.
Yeah.
And that's all anybody should ever care about. So
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned briefly earlier that I was a gardener and I use homeopathy in the garden, which is called, we kind of call it agro homeopathy. Now, that recent hot spell that we had, one of my apricot trees, oh my God, it was a complete drama queen, not dealing with this hot weather at all. And I've been treating that with homeopathy. So how did I tell the tree that this stuff that I've been giving it every day is making it better? And this is just a little 500ml bottle of water that I've put Remedies in, and I walk out there every day and I give it a bang, which we call succussing, and I give it a bang and I put a drop by the roots.
Oh, so even works on plants as well, which makes sense if considering most of it comes from plants.
Yes, I did a podcast with Mary Greensmith, who's a wonderful homeopath, a few years back on using homeopathy in the garden. And I don't use any chemicals to grow, to deter pests, or to do any, or even, sun scorch and everything else that this apricot tree suffered from. It's every single living thing, whether you're talking about an ant, a mouse, a dog, a cat, a goat, a shire horse, a goldfish, a tree, a plant, or a person. You can use homeopathy on all of it.
That's just blown my mind, because I can't keep a plant alive. I kill them all, every single one of them. They all die. I've had about 5 plants this year that have all died.
Oh no!
But I'm trying. I'm trying.
You're learning.
But exactly that. But I just found that quite poetic, because obviously the homeopathic side of it, they come, like I said, comes from plants and things like that, and it's like going back full circle. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like giving something back that they give to you in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Here's an example. So with there's a remedy called Helix Toster, which we use to deter snails and slugs, and it's made from a snail.
Oh.
And with aphids, one of the remedies I used recently is made from the ladybird. And the ladybird, or ladybug, whatever way you want to call it, is a natural predator of the aphids. So by making this into a remedy and just spraying around where these aphids were, the aphids are like, whoa, we're out of here. We're gone. And they go.
Aphids, are they the like little things that I call midges?
No, aphids are little green things that generally they suck the sap
out.
They're farmed by ants most of the time. You'll see ants doing a little kind of one-way system up one side of the tree and down the other side of the tree, and they're farmed by ants most of the time. In fruit trees, they seem to suffer more.
Yeah, I know which ones you mean. The little tiny green ones that land in your arms and stuff. Yeah. No, I was just thinking, if you meant the little midges things, I thought that'd be handy for me, because I get absolutely plagued with them when I'm cycling home from work. It's horrible. It's like Space Invaders trying to dodge them all.
God. Not nice.
Yeah, so this is just, like I said, I'm learning at the same time. My mind's a little bit blown. So no doubt we'll probably have to do a part 2 at some point. But you mentioned a word a minute ago that sounded like avocado, and we're talking about frequencies and stuff.
Avocado. So avocado's number is part of the kind of scientific way that they gauge if there's actual substance left in it. So from a homeopathic perspective, most remedies are the lowest potency, so the number that follows the name of a remedy. Generally what we use is around a 3x, which means it's been succussed and diluted and succussed and diluted and succussed and diluted. But by the time it gets to what they call a 12C, there's none of the actual substance left in it. Anything under a 12C, especially tissue salts, you've still got some of the active substance, which is measurable. After that is all energetic. And if you think we have remedies from 12C all the way up to 50 million and beyond.
Oh, wow.
Most remedies that most people have in homeopathic pet kits or homeopathic kits at home are 30C or 200C. And as a general rule, 30C and 200C will certainly support most things that will happen with you or your family, your animals on a day-to-day basis. And when you start looking at numbers higher than that, and you start going into the 1Ms and the 10Ms, etc., 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 that is when you really should be working with a professional, because there's a hell of a lot more involved. But a 30C, quite good. You know, if you've got a kid at home and you've, go back to that being stung by a wasp thing. If you've stung by a wasp, take a 30C, take 4 to 6 doses and it should change. And then as soon as it starts to improve, you don't take any more.
Okay. So, Bob, so this is all explained in your books, and you've got...
all explained in the books. And also, you know, if you have the Helios kits or the Ainsworth's kit. So here's a good comparison for you. There's the standard 24 remedy Helios kit, and this is the Ainsworth's 42 kit. Fantastic kits. The Helios will do most things. The Ainsworth just does a little bit more. It's more of a premium kit. And of course, theirs come with this one's got an SOS essence in, which is made of back flowers, and the Ainsworths come with a similar one, but there's no alcohol in the Ainsworths one, so it's a little bit better for giving to your animals if they're sensitive or cheap kids. But yeah, that is the potency that you will find. The Helios kit is all 30C potency, and the Ainsworth's kit has 30C as well as a few 200Cs where you would need them. So, you know, that kind of sudden shocks and frights and sudden injuries, which a 200C potency warrants, they're in those kits. But they're both, you know, that's the pet kits. I've got all the human kits as well. But a 30C is of great potency just to keep on you. If you think 30C, something's just happened, 200C, oh my God, something's really just happened and we need something stronger. That kind of will suffice to most people at home. After that, you really do need professional help with things. So
it's kind of a bit like alcohol.
Yeah, your vodkas and your beer.
Yeah. If you've had a really hard day, it's the spirits, yeah.
If you walk in a pub and there's a man there with a pint and there's a 6% pint beer, he might have had a bit of a rough day. And if he's sat there with a bottle of Jack Daniels on the side just helping himself, he's had a really, really rough day. So good way of looking at it.
That's what just makes sense to me when you picture it like that. That's how I just try and break things down for people to understand. That does completely make sense. So with these, obviously, when you get the kits and stuff, when, say, for example, you use one, you don't have to go buy a whole new kit. I'm guessing there's top-ups and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of the pharmacies and I provide my own friends and family as well with top-ups. So most of the little vials in those kits contain between 30 and 40 little pills, even though they're tiny little vials. Sometimes quite often, and I'll say to my clients, and they say, I think I need a top up of whatever, and I'll say, okay, which one is it? And I'll tell them to put the kit on the side so you can see how much is left in each one. Then, and it's usually Nux Vomica if they're a bit of a drinker, or an overindulgence person is the remedy that disappears the most. But yeah, you can buy top ups. They're roughly around £3.5.
Okay.
And these kits, although they've got a use by date on them because of, the laws have to do that, it's been proven that remedies that are 200 years old are still potent. So
Wow.
you don't have to go, oh God, my kit's running out, I need to chuck it and buy another one. As long as you haven't been keeping it in the microwave or next to some really, in a cupboard with a load of camphor and stuff like that, because that can antidote and cause a few issues, they're fine. And the great thing with these kits, because they fold in half and they're plastic, and they almost seal the remedies inside, so they're all protected. They fit. I keep them, although I've got near enough a full pharmacy here at home. I still keep one of these kits in my glove box. As soon as my children got their own vehicles, when they pass their test, they've got kits, because I know no matter what, they've got a remedy to help them. My young lad, he's 19. He went to his first festival last year down at Boardmasters, and obviously took something he probably shouldn't have, and found me in a bit of a mess. And I said, okay, go to your car, go get your kit out. I want you to take some Nux Vomica now and drink lots of water. And then you give me a call in another hour. And he phoned me an hour and he said, I'm feeling much better, Mum, thanks. And I went, right, don't be an idiot again. Don't go taking stuff you don't know what it is. He learned his lesson, but he had the kit. He had the kit to back him up. And the same, my daughter lives over the other side of Bristol now, so I don't see her so often. And I made her a home kit with 600 remedies in, so I know no matter what she needs, she has it over there with her now.
No, that's
Yeah, it really is. It really is a superpower. My mother's gone. Here's another little story. My mother's 85, and she had a heart attack in February, and then diagnosed with heart failure. And most people were like, "Oh my God, doom and gloom." She's 85. She's widowed a couple of years ago. Lives on her own. She's got her own kit, and she took it into hospital with her. And I said, right, start taking this straight away, and I'll be in as soon as I can. And I arrived at the hospital later on that evening and started giving her remedies, and I've continued to do so. She takes 2 of my pills a day. She isn't on any prescribed medication at all. At the moment, she's down in Lyme Regis. She's decided to take herself off on holiday. She went to a music festival a couple of weeks ago. And she's just back out enjoying life and doing everything. But she's got a kit.
yeah.
And she's got the same kit. I've stocked the pet kits for years. I don't bother stocking the human kits because they're exactly the same, but I have to charge you more for them. So she's got the
Right,
same.
yeah, got you.
Yeah. So she's got a pet kit, and I know whatever it is she needs, she's got something there to help her.
Do you know, it's funny she mentioned that though. It's funny she mentioned that because it's normally the other way around. Like for the conventional side of it, the human stuff's usually 10 times cheaper than the animal stuff, even though it's exactly the same. And it's just weird how it works the other way around on homeopathy as well. Yeah, that's quite
I think
funny.
from my perspective as well, although I've got a fantastic practice with, brilliant family practice, and the youngest is, probably 10, 11, maybe 12 weeks old now, up to 92-year-olds. And I see a lot of family groups. So people will come to me and they may have an issue, and, I help them with that issue, and usually at the end of the consultation, and we've been sat there chatting for an hour, and they say, oh, have you got anything for my dog? And I go, oh, what's up with your dog? And most of the time I know what's up with the dog because the dog's mirroring whatever they've got anyway. And I go, okay, well, maybe if we work on you, your dog won't be as anxious and won't be as so agitated by things. And most of the time it works. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Do you know what? You've touched on something there that a lot of people do overlook. When they've got a dog that's showing certain, like I said, behavioural issues and things like that, straight away they're just looking at the dog. But quite commonly, dogs are actually just mirroring your energy because they're empathetic. And start looking internally first, and then start looking at the dog.
Yeah. So this year, the book that was supposed to be coming out this year is one that I've been writing on mirroring. And because I'm in such a privileged position where I'm treating people and I'm treating families, and then, their animals come into that conversation, I see it all the time. all the time. And I look at people sometimes, and at the end of the consultation, they go, "Oh, my cat's doing this, or my goat's doing this, or my horse is doing this. Any suggestions?" And I'm like, "Okay, did we just have a conversation about those things?" And then you see the penny drop sometimes with them. And that was the book that was supposed to be out this year. But now I realise, because I've had some really interesting cases this year, that I need more of these really interesting cases before I write that book.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting because, like I say, a lot of old phrases like dogs are just like their owners or look
Yeah.
like their owners, but there's a reason behind that because, like I said, they're empathetic and they do mirror their owners. I've seen some videos where some poor bloke he'd broke his ankle, so he's on crutches, and the dog starts going walking around the corner,
Yeah.
limping, taking them. To me, it looked like he was taking the mick, and some dogs are just that intuitive and will mimic.
Your
So it
dog
is,
will know when you're ill before you're ill. Your
yeah,
dog knows your heartbeat from so far away. I did a course with Sean Ellis from the Wolf Centre, probably about 15, 20 years ago. And after we just finished this whole kind of lesson about how wolves know the heartbeat of the animals, and that's how they pick out the sick ones in the herd, etc. And we went out to observe some wolves. And I had my old wax jacket on, poo bags in the pocket, tissues in the pocket, and dog leads and God knows what, and treats left over in the pocket. And thought, well, we're going to be, behind this fence looking at wolves. And we weren't. We were in with the wolves. And this
oh wow,
bitch came running up to me. And all I could think was, oh my God, calm your heart rate down, calm your heart rate down. Because my heart was in my throat.
as it should be.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, oh my God, my coat stinks of German Shepherds and Jack Russells and St. Bernards and God knows what else, and anything that I've had in this pocket for years. This is an old barber coat that's probably 20 years old at that point. And she was so fascinated by all the smells on me. And once I calmed down, I enjoyed the experience more. But she knew my heart rate. And if my heart had an issue, I don't know, maybe she would have treated me differently.
Yeah,
I know with my German Shepherd, a particular German Shepherd knew I was pregnant before I was pregnant. To the point that my second pregnancy, I did a pregnancy test because of the way he was acting. And I went, oh, he's right. They know. They can smell our odor, our sweat, if we're stressed, if we're well, if we're happy. They know.
yeah, they definitely do, and nobody can even dispute that either because they're using dogs for medical related things. Like you've got dogs like assistance dogs that can tell if someone's about to have an epileptic fit in
Yeah.
advance and offer support, which I think is absolutely fantastic. That just shows how clever dogs are.
I will take more notice of a dog sniffing particular areas of a body than I probably would in most normal diagnosis that person may have been given. Because if the
Yeah,
dog has noticed a change in that area of the body, then that's something you need to put a bit of focus into.
yeah, definitely. I mean, there's in the papers over 10 years ago now that a woman was diagnosed with breast cancer after she noticed that her dog was constantly pawing at the area. And yeah, that's just mind blowing. The fact that the dog helped to get an early diagnosis,
Yeah,
and I thought it was mind blowing.
it is absolutely amazing. We should well, saying that they can smell the homeopathic remedies. It'd be good if we could kind of train a dog to match a homeopathic remedy to their owners. Never know.
Yeah,
Years.
just push it over with a paw.
Yeah, this is what you need to do. No, saying that actually, my old bitch during an animal communication session that I had a couple of months back, and I offered her a remedy, and it was so obvious that she wanted me to have it. Even the the lady on the other end was amazed because I'd offered her this remedy and she literally kind of nosed it to me and looked at me as if to go, no, you need this one. And I'm not going to say what remedy it was, but I did actually need that remedy at that point. I was like, wow, okay.
So
My
that's
young
just
bitch, no, she just gave me the whole kit and go, take what you want.
oh, it's definitely fascinating stuff, and yeah, I do recommend anybody, like I said, that has tried all the conventional stuff and followed all the right steps as they should, to give it a whirl. Because what have they got to lose? They've tried everything else, so why not?
Yeah.
And the only thing that's going to happen is it doesn't work. But at the same time, neither is all the other stuff that you've been trying that hasn't worked either. But a lot of people that have tried it have noticed things starting to turn a corner. So
Yeah.
from what I've seen,
When you see, I've had a couple of dogs and horses that are due to be put to sleep because there's nothing else that modern medicine can offer them. And thankfully I had Chris Day. I don't know if you heard of him. He's the most amazing homeopathic vet ever in my opinion. I had him at the end of a mobile phone, and I was speaking to him and getting him to tell these vets what they needed to do, and I had all the remedies there to give this particular dog that they couldn't do any more for her. And we gave the remedies during the night. They agreed to give the remedies that I provided. And the next morning I phoned up at 6 o'clock expecting the worst because this bitch was in a terrible state. And they said, we don't know what you've given her, but she's great. She stayed in another day in intensive, well, not in intensive care at that point, she came out of intensive care, but she stayed another day. I brought her home. I nursed her. I gave her remedies every couple of hours, whatever it was she needed, and she was great. And never went back to the vet. I had a horse that was due to be put to sleep that had severe laminitis front and back. Hadn't moved in his stall for over 4 hours. Vet was due back at 9 o'clock to put him to sleep. I went over at 6:30, started giving remedies to this horse. Within 20 minutes of giving the first lot of remedies, he moved, walked across and took some water. Then he started eating, and by the time the vet had come out, the vet said, "There's what happened? He's fine." And he's
so you
still
can take So you can take a horse to water and make them drink.
Absolutely. Well, he did it himself. But yeah, I think when you see that, when you see these people, even, I've had it with people with cardiac arrests. When you see people that modern medicine, nothing's helping them. My own father went through a cancer diagnosis and was given 3 days to live. And I concentrated on keeping him out of pain. He was due to have an excruciating death in a matter of days, which was August the 1st. And the cancer had basically eaten through his skull. He had a squamous cell carcinoma, had eaten through his skull into his brain. His brain's pulsating underneath. And they said, he's not going to last a couple of days. And I said, okay, fine. Let's chuck absolutely everything at him to strengthen that skull bone that's left so it doesn't dissolve so quick. Keep him out of pain. And then if it comes to it, we'll have to figure out what we're going to do come the end. That was August the 1st. After spending a wonderful Christmas day at my house with my family and playing cards and eating all day and with the dogs, and I took him back home on the evening, and he fell down, smashed his head on the sink whilst he was in the bathroom, and basically died of a stroke a couple of days later, but the cancer never got him. We actually grew the bone back on his skull to the point that the consultant was banging it, kind of 4 or 5 weeks later saying, well, how's this happened? And I said, it's because of the stuff that I'm giving him. And when you see those things happen, I think that's what gives you, it makes me more passionate about trying to help more people and trying to educate more people that there is another way. And don't just take it at face value that just because, modern medicine, and whether that's your GP or your vet, has said, there's nothing else we can do, Don't do that. Go and find a homeopathic vet. Go and find a homeopath to work with, because there is another way. And
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
homeopathy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, at the end of the day, it's a specialised field, and it even exists in the veterinary world.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth trying. But yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, honestly, that was a lot for me to take in. So I'll probably,
Sorry. It is.
uh,
I try to make it as light as you can, but,
yeah,
you know,
you definitely have. It's just a lot because it's a completely new area for me. So at least people that are watching this can rewind it and rewatch it. I can't
yeah.
do that. It's happening live,
Yeah.
but
You know,
I will rewatch it.
my key, I think the key thing for people to take away who's listening to this or watching it is, if you or a friend or a family member or whoever is faced with that diagnosis that there's nothing more that can be done, go find a homeopath. Go find a vet homeopath, or go find a homeopath, depending on, if it's you or your animals, because there's always something else to be done.
Yeah,
But better still, get yourself a kit. The kits come with books. If you don't get on with that type of learning and you prefer, the kind of imagery type learning, there's one for Nux Vomica, a bulldog drinking a beer and eating too much. Is overindulgence. Is, learn the keynotes of these remedies.
yeah,
And if you try and it doesn't work, well, chances are you've probably chosen the wrong remedy. So just have another little look. Say, okay, what am I looking at? Why do I feel ill? Or why is my dog now looking so bloated? Did they eat a load of stuff? Did they get in the garbage? If they've suddenly got vomiting and diarrhea, but they've been garbage bin diving, or your kids got vomiting and diarrhea, or you have, and you've just had that dodgy curry, I've taken a little look at arsenicum. And if it doesn't work, get to the vet or get to the GP. But the chances are, once you start using homeopathy and you become a little bit more familiar with those keynotes, it's almost like that Name That Tune. Sometimes you hear that kind of do from a song and you think, oh God, yeah, that was such and such in the 90s or 2000s. Same with homeopathy. You'll start hearing those little keynotes and you go, that's that remedy. Let's give that a go.
yeah.
But for
And
the sake of what it costs you to walk into a vet's now, or certainly it's going to probably cost you to even see a GP in a few years' time, one of these kits, if you take the Ainsworths, which is the premium kit, they're 86 quid. You can buy a book. If you buy my book, you get £10 off the course that I have online, which gives you lifetime access how to use the remedies and the kits as well.
yep.
You can always dip back in, but learn it. If you don't learn from me, learn from someone else.
Yeah, exactly. But never take things on face value, but do your own research and
Yes.
use you as a foundation for that research, because 9 times out of 10 they're going to realise that you was right, so they're going to come back to you anyway. But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to try and wrap this up. So what I'm going to do is underneath this video, because it'll be on all platforms anyway, it'll have like a bio underneath it, and I'll link in all the things that they'll need to contact you directly or anything like that, and then
Okay.
or purchase kits. But I just want to point out that I've not financed. I don't get anything for people buying kits through you. It's completely just their choice, and it's down to
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I'm hoping people that watch this will start reaching out to you to get more solid guidance, because you are heavily approachable, and that's why I wanted you to get you on here.
Thank you,
Because
Mike.
if people are interested in it, then I'd rather them speak to somebody that is approachable and that can handhold them and as best as they can.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for doing all that you're doing.
Thank you. And I mean, as I say, I put a post out the other day, and whatever your learning curve is and whatever your budget is, I've got something there. If you want the free stuff, it's all in my portal on my website. You can go and read it, or in the groups, and you can find out that way. Or you can do a course. There's a little bit, you got to pay a little bit more. Or buy a book. You've got to pay a little bit more. Or buy a kit and a book. So whatever budget you're on, whether you're on, I can't afford absolutely anything, there's resources there. And if you don't want to learn yourself and you want me to completely hold your hand, then you book in with me. But there's something there. Just go out and learn one way or another. I'm just passionate about getting people to try homeopathy first. Reach for that before they're reaching for a steroid or antibiotic or even an aspirin or a paracetamol. Because the world would be so much better and healthier. And I'm rambling now. Sorry.